Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I want to brainstorm with you about what I'm looking at for the upcoming year. I also want to discuss a little bit about what I purchased to use for this third grade year, what we actually used, what we loved, maybe things that we aren't going to be using, things like that. So I really don't know entirely the direction that this is going to go, but I just wanted to kind of hash some things out with you and let you know what my thought process is. So if this is something that interests you, I would ask that you stick around. All right, before we get completely started on today's video, I want to say welcome or welcome back. If this is your first time here, I am a homeschool mom to an up-and-coming fourth grader. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something that you are interested in, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. So first I'm going to do kind of a quick comparison of last year versus this year as to like where I'm standing at. So at this time last year, and today is April 18th, I was about to be at 147 days of school. This year we are sitting at 138 days of school. So you can see I have 10 days different from what I had last year. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're at the very end and you're kind of seeing, in my case, a lot of curriculums not coming to the finish line within that 10 days, it can make you a little bit nervous. Not really, I don't guess I should say nervous, but I like to be able to check things off. I like to be able to say, this is done. But we just aren't going to be able to do that a lot this year. And one of those reasons is just for example, here are two different curriculums that I have for writing. And in addition to this, we also ended up picking up Night Zookeeper again. So for writing, she's done some of this, she's done some of that. We've done a little bit of a few other just kind of odd and end writing programs. And because of this kind of moving around, neither one of these will be finished. Does that mean we weren't working on writing throughout the year? No, it doesn't. But it doesn't mean that I can check these off and say that they're done. I for sure want to finish this one at some point, so it's going to kind of carry over to the next year. So because I kind of see this deadline looming ahead of me, I'm reevaluating, one, what I want next year to look like and how I can make each year just a little bit smoother. And I do feel that each year I am getting smoother, because there was one year I had like this big mid-year freak out, which I'll put right here. And it was before I had gotten on the loop schedule or block schedule train, and that is amazing, and it really makes sure that you are hitting what you want to hit throughout the year. I don't put a giant priority on history and science, but I do definitely want to cover some of those topics throughout the year, and that schedule, that loop schedule, helps me make sure that I am hitting those subjects at least once a week. And so there's just different things like that I have improved on, and I just want to continue to improve on. I know that a lot of you may be some of you may already be purchased for all I know, but some of you may be in the process of really thinking, what's next? What do I think would work best for us? And a lot of times I try to purchase much in advance so that I can show you, hey, this is what we're using. But it's just a little bit different this year. For one, we jumped in and we started a co-op this year. So where last year we were easily able to school 5 days a week, and usually that was like 4 core days and then 1 fun day with like different things. This year has not been like that because co-op has taken one of those days. So most of the time we are doing for sure 3 core days, and then we have a co-op day, and then the 4th day, which we would be at home for, is just a little bit different. And so that is something for next year I want to kind of build in and know in advance. This is kind of what I need to do to progress at the speed that I want to go forward on without pushing too much. You know, I want to keep it to where we're within her boundaries, but not going out of that. So I think one of the easiest things to do when you're planning for your next year, for one, to think about what it is that you liked this year that you want to carry forward to next year, and things that you didn't like that you for sure don't want to carry forward. So I think that's one of the first steps, is to evaluate your first year and decide, yes, I liked this. No, I didn't like that. And this is a School Nest homeschool planner. I have absolutely loved this planner. That is one of the things I have purchased for this year, is next year's School Nest planner. And I have the minimalist version. So in the very, very back, she has a section of end of the year wrap up. Kind of what went well, what do I want to focus on, maybe what didn't go well. So this is a mess. And just know this is me kind of brain dumping about the year. One thing, and if you watched my 3rd grade video, I'll put that right here. I feel like about every option under the sun to use this year. And I didn't like that. I had way too many options. And that can really be overwhelming when you have too many options. So my focus for 4th grade, and you can see it's like the biggest thing wrote on here, is simplicity. I had thought of this like back some time ago, and then as I'm kind of reevaluating again, you can say that I am indeed, yes, this is what I'm going after. I want a more minimalistic school curriculum, school day. And one way that I can do that is to not overbuy and to not have too many options. And so that's a focus for me. Doesn't mean that it's a focus for you, but it's a focus for me. And then I've just jotted some more notes down. Now, as far as how can I meet this? Well, one of the main things I can do is, as I'm planning for next year, I can go back on my shelves and I can look and see, what have we not finished that we could finish? What have we not touched that we could use? And do I really need to purchase it? Or is it something that I can kind of just find, maybe use it from the library so that I can use it, take it back, or even something as easy as finding something online. So it's not necessarily that I need to buy something for next year. So that's something else I want to look at, is there another option besides buying for this subject? Over here on the side, I have just wrote in some ideas of things that I've seen throughout the year. I've added these all throughout the time of what I might want to use, some curriculums that I've seen throughout the year, and I just kind of put my little note here. And so that way I know, okay, if I've come back to this one over and over and over, that's probably something that I've seen and I really am genuinely after it, and not so much of, ooh, I saw this pretty picture on Instagram, I must buy that now. And I have been guilty of that, and I would guess I'm probably not the only one. So tying back into this simplicity is, I'm going to look through my stuff and I'm going to see what all I have currently that I can continue to use. And for us, that is science. So I'm just going to make myself a little note over here that says reuse. And I know that I have some science curriculum that I can reuse. So I'm just going to put that right there. We have been working on handwriting. This is cursive from The Good and the Beautiful, level 3. We love this. She should finish this just right at the end of the year. So that means that I'm going to want or need something to continue on for cursive. I actually already have something on my shelves that I can use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down cursive. I can reuse that. That's not something that I need to research. We have another cursive curriculum that we can use. But as far as did we love this? Yes, I do really, really like this. It's super cool. They use the rainbow to teach them to write it. So they follow in the color of the rainbow, and then every single page has some sort of little activity on the end or the bottom, excuse me. So I really, really like this a lot. I would highly recommend this one. I think this is the only thing I've ever purchased from The Good and the Beautiful, but I did really like this. She was able to do it independently, which was perfect. So it's teaching her to do the cursive. But as far as for next year, she will have went through that. She'll have an idea of how to create those letters, so we can go to the next one that I already own, which is Roller Coaster Rider, I believe is what it's called. And that is one that she can, I think that would be the next appropriate step for her. It would kind of give her more practice, but it wouldn't have the rainbow steps. So she would have to practice it more with remembering the actual letter. All right, now getting back to reusing. As I mentioned before, these are not going to get done. So I can definitely continue to use my writing and rhetoric till it's done. I don't need to go ahead and get book 2 now. Now, if I find one on an amazing sale and I'm certain, 100% certain this is what we're going to be using, then yes, I might go ahead and buy that. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not at that point right now because I have writing and rhetoric that we can finish. She is a slightly reluctant writer. And so we're going through the writing process slower than maybe normally would be happening. And so we have this also. We can continue with this. Yes, it's grade 3, but that's okay. We're not really ready to jump to grade 4 right now. This is a very gentle approach to writing, by the way. It doesn't ask a lot of every day. It's very minimal on the amount that is expected. And so I can tie this in, another program I'm looking at, and also we have The Night Zookeeper. All of those, it is likely I can get us all the way through 4th grade in that. So I don't need to purchase a writing thing right now because I have the curriculum to get us through at least the first good chunk of the year. So I don't have to necessarily plan to buy anything right now. And I honestly think that with everything that I already have, that we can probably get through at least half of 4th grade year before I need to evaluate buying something else for writing. My spelling, as far as my spelling, that is actually, I have already purchased level 2 for All About Spelling. Now, quite some time ago, it might have been 2 years ago, I can't remember, we had tried All About Spelling. And it just really wasn't a good fit at that time. But looking back on that, we were heavy into learning to read. And trying to learn to read and to spell was a lot. And so now that we are a fluent reader, and that brings me also really quickly to All About Reading Level 4. I told you I was probably going to be all over on this video, so I hope you're still with me and enjoying this. Level 4, we are definitely going to be able to finish this. We actually really super duper slowly used this because we love the program so much. We weren't ready to say goodbye to it. In hindsight, I wish we'd have sped it up just a little bit because as you get towards the end of the year, you're kind of ready to start seeing things go. But have loved All About Reading. I do not regret doing level 4. I know a lot of people don't because you pretty much have a reader at level 3 at the end of that. However, there are a lot of really interesting, good things that are in level 4 that I'm glad we covered, and I'm glad that we did it. This is my all-time favorite homeschool curriculum right here. Of all the things that I've ever bought, this is it. Love All About Reading, which was why it was always just a huge shock that this didn't fit for me. I'm like, it's the same approach. It is the same rules. I mean, there's so many rules that tie in the same phonics sounds. And so it just boggled my mind really that this didn't fit. And so we went to Memoria Press Traditional Spelling. I'll put that here. Really liked that. We did all of level 1 and we did some of level 2. until I figured out I don't like curriculums that are day specific. I have a little note here. I struggled with it because I felt like, oh, we're way behind, or we're way off, or something like that, because you had a lesson was 4 days. Let me see if I can find one. All right, traditional spelling 2. This is the second one. Again, it's not that I don't like this. I do like this. I loved the approach. I think she was really improving with her spelling too. Because we had done the All About Spelling, that didn't really work. We had done an Evan Moore workbook, that did not work. She wasn't holding on to anything with that. But this one did. It used a little bit of phonics, so it used a little bit of color coding, and it's good. It is good. I like it a lot. So I don't want you to think I dropped it because it wasn't good. I only temporarily set it to the side because this was day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then day 5 was the final test. And I wasn't able to complete a whole lesson in one day a lot of times because of the way our days just went. With co-op adding on, even though as much as I love co-op, it has really thrown a wrench into my very busy schedule. So I work from home in addition to homeschool, in addition to taking some college classes. And so right now in this season of life, this sort of curriculum doesn't work well for me mentally because I can't stand not completing something in a week. And if it just happened occasionally, I would be like, okay, we'll just catch up. But it was happening a lot, and so that just wasn't working well for me. This, however, does work really well for her, and it is really, really good. But my friend had All About Spelling Level 1, and I asked her if we could borrow it again. Now, she's right on the line of Level 1, Level 2. So I decided we were just going to start back at Level 1, and what I would do is I would set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes, and we would do as much as we could. We flew through the first few lessons, but they're not called lessons, which also works really, really well for me. They're called steps. And so I don't feel overwhelmed if I cannot finish a whole step in one day. And so the longer that you homeschool, you not only find out things about your student and your homeschooling style, but you find out things about yourself and what works for you and what doesn't work. And so for me, this works really well, and it's working really, really well for her too this year because, one, we are a fluent reader now, so we're not having to try to wrap our head around all of that. We can focus a lot more on learning the rules for spelling, and so it's working really, really well. You like this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she really, really likes it. We use the salt tray. If you follow us on Instagram, you've probably seen a lot of this recently because we've used it a lot. We use a lot of different methods for using the spelling. Love this. So I have bought Level 2. So we will be done with Level 1 before the end of the year, and we will probably just go ahead and start Level 2 right away. And so that is something that I put in the reuse because I have already purchased it knowing that that's what we're using. Also, something else for like that handwriting section, if I want her to practice any specific like print, which I don't really think we need so much anymore, but I do still have all of these that I can reuse. I bought the whole set. We have so many different writing programs that she can kind of practice her print and penmanship through that. So I'm not super worried about having a handwriting curriculum just for that. But if I do, I have this whole set, so I can definitely reuse Draw right now, and I can even reuse these for drawing, little artist type work. So if you have never seen these before, I just use one of these little notebooks, these composition notebooks here. It's great because it has this section right here that I have her draw the image on, and then I have her copy this. So if I ever need copy work or anything like that, this is great for that. Not anything that I need to purchase because I've already done it. So I just don't want to forget these things. A few more items that I have that are going to continue to roll over that didn't get finished is word ladders. We really like word ladders. This is like the lower levels, grades 1 to 2. She's able to just fly through them. And so she can just finish these whenever. I'm not a big deal on getting this finished or not getting it finished. It's just kind of a fun way to think about how our words are built, in addition to kind of practicing those phonetic skills. And then the word a day, this is really pretty good too. It just teaches her a word each day. And these two will be kind of some summer work that will happen as we finish some of these other curriculums, or as we just kind of ease school down some during the actual summertime, because we do still continue to lightly school during the summer, but it is much lighter and a lot fewer days. Carrying over into some things that I can reuse. Our Song School Spanish, we are going with it, but we have roughly 7 to 9 weeks left in our official 3rd grade year. So this will not complete in 3rd grade, but it will carry over into the first term of 4th grade. So I don't know that I'm going to be in a rush to purchase this, but I will likely be getting book 2 of it. But I don't know that I'll just purchase it right now. I may just finish this and then purchase it closer to time. Again, unless I find a smashing deal on it, and then I will go ahead. But otherwise, rather than having just a ton of stuff sitting on my shelf, or what if in that amount of time I end up finding something else that I like much, much better, I'm going to finish this out. And then when I get to that first term of 4th grade, I'll decide, am I for sure going to book 2? Or have I stumbled upon something else? So that's another thing, is just to kind of think in mind, if you're at this point and you still have something that's going to carry you over into the first term of your next grade, maybe hold off on buying it unless you are 100% sure that's what you're going to use. 100% sure, I'm using Dimensions. So I know that I have actually found a used set on Dimensions. It was great. More than likely, it was a family that it didn't work for. And so they ended up selling it. I got A from one place and B from another place, but that was perfect. So I have those and I have that ready to go. So I have purchased Dimensions. My big Singapore math curriculum comparison, which I'll put right here, that shed so much light on this for me. I did it to help you guys, but during the process, it helped me know what really worked best for us. And so as we evaluated some different things, and I talked to her and she heard me doing the video, and then I was realizing some of the things as we went, Dimensions is the best fit for us, I think. And I'm also planning to use the online teaching program more than likely next year. And so that will also get put in with that. And tying in with that Dimensions is kind of another goal for me this year, is I want to use what I have more and have a whole lot less looking around. So if I have something that is working and we are progressing in it, I don't need to get so distracted on saying, ooh, look at this new curriculum, or look at this over here. I need to just keep going. And so that is something that I'm really, really focusing on this year. Is I've purchased Dimensions, and that's what we're going to use going forward, unless there is just something really, really significant and substantial that changes about it. If it's just that we have some hard days or we just don't like it for a little bit, we're going to keep pushing forward with it, because that is how you can get off track and you can be way behind on different things and not finishing out things like you would want them to be. So that's another focus for me this year, is to have what I've purchased and use it, unless there's just, something really catastrophic with it. Otherwise, let's just push ahead. And if it doesn't work, then we know that, well, you know what, next year. And let's see, some more focuses that I have this year is something I want her to maybe start working on. So we have some things that are Sassafras Science read alouds. We really like the Sassafras Read Aloud. However, this is going to change a little bit, and I think I'm going to move that towards maybe she could independently read some of this, because we're going to be done with All About Reading Level 4. That means that our reading program is done, and so I'm going to need to be assigning different reading and different readers. And one way to kind of check the box of we're reading and we're completing some science is by having her read the Sassafras Read Aloud and either narrating back to me how it happened or what happened or giving me some topics. My dog is snoring under the table right now, and you can probably hear that. I am sorry. He's a boxer, and so he doesn't know how to breathe quietly. So that's an idea that I have for her, is that it has like lap books and different things like that. So she could use that if we end up going with Sassafras for level 4. Same thing with if we were going to do Story of the World, which, sidebar, let's go over here. I don't think I'm going to do Story of the World next year. Not because I don't like it, because I do, but I want to focus on American history next year. So I want to specifically focus on American history, probably for 4th and 5th grade. And so I have been looking at Sunlight and Bookshark and Beautiful Feet. And if you have any suggestions for American history, please drop them down in the comments for me, because that's where I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing on that yet. We're going to continue to use Story of the World throughout the end of the year, and when 4th grade actually rolls around, I will hopefully have something purchased for starting American history. So not that I don't like Story of the World, and I'm holding on to those, because as she gets older, we're going to tie back and roll back around in those. She's going to be able to read those at that time, but my focus is changing to American history, and so my focus is changing to a different curriculum for that next year. Another note that I have right here is that I have really minimized our subscription boxes. We were using Kiwi Code, Generation Genius, Knowledge Crates. I had all 3 of those rolling at one point, and as you can imagine, we have a surplus of subscription boxes. We're trying to work through those, but we had a lot. So I have paused and stopped all of them at this point. Not that we don't like them, but we were overwhelmed with them. So we've put a stop on those, and I just want to remind myself that if we get through all of these and we want to add a box back, that it needs to be a singular. It needs to be a subscription box. And if at any time I'm adding up too many, it needs to stop. So I don't need to buy a whole year of anything. But, again, that's a lesson to myself, and just maybe a little note to you in case you get in the same predicament. And then one of the last things I want to focus on for next year is I want to plan ahead more. So, for example, I can look at my table of contents for math, and I can see how many days per week I'm going to need to complete math to complete the end of the year where I want it to complete. We homeschool year around, so we do and do not have kind of an official start and stop. And for sure, I'm seeing that come to fruition this year of, yes, some things will get done, some things will not get done by our official 3rd grade year. So that's just something that will kind of come as I keep going with homeschool. So, but up until this point, I've really flew by the seat of my pants, and it has worked really quite well. I do a lot of backward planning. So here is this week, for example. On Sunday, I wrote out what my plan was, because I need a plan, and that is why I'm saying I need to start building that in. Up until this point, I haven't needed it. We were here 5 days a week. I wasn't doing a bunch of college. I wasn't out of the house very often, and I also didn't have as many work hours. All of that has changed. Therefore, my homeschool dynamic has changed, and I need to start planning more. And we're getting into 4th grade, which means things are getting a little bit heavier. Now, if you happen to have a high schooler or something like that, you're probably just saying, oh my goodness, you have no idea, because that's what I tell myself when I think back to the way I was stressing for kindergarten and 1st grade. I didn't need to put as much thought into it as I did. But that is something else for this year. I'm trying to be more simple with it and not be so overly complicated, which I think in the end is going to help it smooth out better. But this is how I plan. I put what I kind of want to do for the week, and I have done nothing for next week. See, it's completely blank. And so I will cross out or erase as we go, check mark it if I actually get it. Now, that is not to say I'm going to sit down and I'm going to plan out the entire year. I'm not, but I do want to know in advance how many days do I need to cover this to complete it for the year. How many days a week do we need to cover this to complete it in a year? That is what my focus is going to be for that. It's not necessarily that I'm going to plan out the whole year. I'm doing lesson 1 and lesson 7. I'm not doing it like that. I just want to have an idea of where I need to be sitting at and then evaluate every 3 months or so. How am I doing on this? Am I completing this on somewhat of a good schedule to meet my somewhat of a deadline? So again, very, very loosey-goosey still, but also we do have some focuses that we're going towards, and I think that just will help the whole year go better. All right, so I think at this point, I'm going to take you over to my bookshelf of what we are currently using and just kind of let you know, are we going to be using it? Are we not going to be using it? Things like that. So I've already talked about writing and rhetoric. We are definitely going to keep on and finish book 1. I'm likely going to continue to use this, and hopefully we'll finish that. Homeschool Spanish, we really like. We have found a really good rhythm for this. We do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days a week, and it works really well. We enjoy it. I'm going to for sure finish book 1. I'm not committing to anything after that because, as I mentioned before, it's going to get me into finishing for the first term of 4th grade, so I'm not going to worry with buying anything else for that right now. The handwriting, I loved this, really, really, really liked it. We will finish this year, and I will use my roller coaster rider for 4th grade. I don't even know if there's actually a number 4 for this. This is level 3. I need to look because it really is fun. But I want to use what I already have, and I might as well use that. And I don't know if we would need anything after that. I don't know. Not looking too far in advance. We're just going to go through that. I will likely continue to use this for a while. I doubt I will repurchase. I doubt this will be like I'm getting level 4. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I am going to continue to use this, and I think I'm going to use vocabulary some way different. I would like to have a curriculum somewhere, somehow, whether that's in history or science or my writing curriculum. I don't know. I would like to have this tied in with it, so it's one less thing that I'm having to pull for, that I'm having to write down, that I'm having to remember. Simplicity. This we will continue to finish. I don't know. I don't know if I will buy this again. Do you like this? She says she really likes this, so it's possible. We'll see. What if I get into 4th grade? I'm not going to buy it yet, but if we finish all of this and I have simplified enough that this would be nice to have again, I may, but I'm not 100% going to buy this again, but I do like it. I do like it a lot, but do I have something else that fits it similarly? Or, I don't know, not really. So maybe this one. I like these a lot. I have the whole set, so I'm not going to need to buy... Well, I don't have the whole set, but I have, like, I think 9 of them. So I'm not going to need to buy any more of these. Would I buy them again? They're kind of cool. If you don't have any other, like, teach you how to draw sort of things, this is really cool. But we all about spelling 1. It's working wonderful. She's doing really, really well. This is just one of those scenarios where it pays to try again. It's not always the right fit at the right time, and that is definitely the case for this. I think we tried it too early, and that's just something to keep in mind, that maybe something will continue to work for you later on. If you need a really good spelling curriculum that is more worksheet based, but also phonetic based, this is so good. Really, really good. I love traditional spelling. This is by Memoria Press. I really, really did like it, but like I said, it just doesn't fit in the season right now. Already raved on this beautiful book here. Fantastic. She's such a good reader. I loved it. Again, it didn't have days. See, so I should have like noticed these things about myself sooner. What is it that I love so much about this? Well, it's just lessons. So I complete my lesson for as long as I think we should be practicing this particular subject, and then I stop and then I go forward. And so I don't ever feel like I'm super behind. That wasn't always the case. I think level 2, I felt a little bit of a hiccup with it because I thought I should complete a whole lesson. And then I later read the teacher's manual and said, don't intend to finish a whole lesson each day. So there's another note. Read your teacher's guide. Ooh, I haven't mentioned this at all. We love Mindbenders. She will definitely finish this. We just pick it up every once in a while. She's got like just a few left here. This is grades 3 through 6. I will definitely get another level of this. I like it a lot. Really, really good. It's just logic. And so they have to read the little section here and figure out who did what. It's great. Really, really quick. Completely independent. Really good. Guest Hollow, which I had a video on, that we will be using this for grammar going forward until we finish that. Let's go to the bookshelf. All right, I do hope you're still with me. I have no idea how long this video is. I'm hoping it's not too long. What your third grader needs to know. I probably will not purchase the next one of this one because I haven't used it very much this year. But these are pretty neat, especially if you have a very simplistic homeschool. This would be really, really great to add into it. We have some more resources that we've just kind of used. Story of the World, I already mentioned. We're not using it for next year just because we're going with American history. This will be put on the shelf and be pulled out at a later time. We have, let's see here, Exploring Nature with Children. I periodically use this. I will get in the mood and more towards the nice times of year. We will use this a lot. Other times we don't use it at all. Geography. We didn't talk about geography. I liked Daily Geography by Evan Moore. This is level 3. Will I use it next year? No, probably not, just because that is something else. I want to figure out how I can tie this in with another subject. I don't want to have just another geography. I want this tied in with something to simplify my life more. So I do like this a lot. What we have been doing is we will do one whole week in one day. So we will take this, as you can see, this is a whole week. We will study the subject here, which this time happened to be a map of Wisconsin. We would talk about all of that. She would answer all of these questions. That would be it. And we have been tying that in with a 50-state study. So, for instance, we could have done Wisconsin that day and also talked about the state of Wisconsin. Grammar and punctuation 3. This is Grammar and Punctuation 3. This was good. Will I buy it again? No, because I'm going to be using Beowulf grammar, but this was a really, really good, quick way to get some grammar in. We have quit using it, but we might go ahead and do some of it sometimes during the summer just because I have it. But I won't be getting it again, but it was pretty good. Did like it. It was pretty quick. Just had a few things to do on each rule. So you would have a rule and then just a few questions. I think it was like a 4-day thing. Read and understand poetry. Will I buy this again? No, I won't, because I didn't use it hardly ever. So there's no sense in buying something that I'm not going to use. Poetry is something that I struggle getting done. Life of Fred. I have quite a few of these, so I won't be repurchasing them, but because like, I wouldn't repurchase them necessarily, but I will continue to use them occasionally because they're really fun and they have us think about math in a little bit of a different way. So, yeah, I won't be purchasing any because I already have the big set, but we do like to do it. We just don't do it very often. Dimensions. Yes, we will be using dimensions again next year. We're going to be using level 4. We are just about done with 3A, and then we will be going on to 3B. I think we are going to fly through 3B actually, because that's something I haven't mentioned. So looking at 3B, I think we're going to fly through this. And the reason, because we did times tails. I'm going to put a little link here or down below and a picture of it here. That is amazing. I forgot to mention that. We added that in the year, and it helped her know all of her times tails, or her times facts with 6, 7, 8, and then anything that is associated with these numbers, which goes with a 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So she is going to fly through those because she already knows that. And then you can see B is really, it's fractions, measurement, geometry, time, money. You know, these are going to go quick. These are going to go really quick. So I'm not panicking too much that we're just now finishing 3A at this point, because I know 3B is going to be a breeze. Knock on wood. All About Reading, sad to say it's gone. This will be it for All About Reading. Loved it. It's been fantastic. It makes me a little teary-eyed to think about the whole journey that we've went with All About Reading, and how she went from being not even knowing what a letter was with pre-reading to she's reading these giant books now. Fantastic. Story of the World, we already talked about that. This was a little book that we have just done a page a day. We're finished with. KiwiCo, we got it out of a crate. It's been really good. Then we have our Sassafras Science. Gonna modify this a little bit if we use it again next year. Gonna be focusing a little bit differently. I did buy this, The Great Science Adventures. I will have to go through this to kind of decide exactly how we'll use it, how often we will use it, but I think it's going to be an interesting way of doing science. All right, let's jump up here really quickly. What do I have up here? Okay, this is Earth and Science. We're actually going to be working on this and moving over. Here is the Logic Workbook for Gritty Kids. We are going to keep using that. She takes art, so I'm not really worried about teaching her art so much because she goes to an art class. Skill Sharpeners Critical Thinking. We have not used that this year. We have not used the grammar and punctuation hardly. Daily Paragraph Editing. Let me see if I can get this out. It's stuck up there. That's by Evan Moore. Seems like it could be cool. I might carry that over and use it for 4th grade. Here you can see I have All About Spelling Level 2 ready to go. Here is my big set of Draw Right Now. Writing with Ease, Level 2. I've just held on to this because I didn't know if we might want to use it at some point. Let's see here. More Than Words. I don't know. I'm just going to get rid of this. We just don't seem to ever use it. Multiplication Facts That Stick. We stopped using that. We used it for a little bit just to kind of catch up in between some primary and Primary Math 2022 and then Primary Math. And then that's just Story of the World 1 that's just filed away there. All right, so that is a wrap. I hope this has been helpful or informative. I hope it hasn't been too rambly. If you have any questions or comments about anything, please drop them down below. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!